name is Melissa Rother Winchester, and she is the global lead for financial services industry for Zoom. And I would love to give her the stage now and hear what she has to say. Melissa, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks. I'm going to start sharing my screen. So let me know, make sure I'm sharing the right one.
It's good to me.
Okay, perfect. Again, thanks, Ryan, for having me. Really excited to be in front of you all and talk about Zoom for financial services. I've been in the UC/CC space for about a decade now, but my background is financial services. So I get most excited when I get to actually speak with customers and love feedback. So I know Ryan and Berkeley will be monitoring the Q&A. So if you have questions during the session, feel free to speak up. I don't want to be a talking head for the full 30 minutes that we have together. So feel free to interject as we go along. But again, pleasure to be in front of you all and talk about hopefully how we can help your institution. So let's jump right into it. So really, when you look at financial services and what you're trying to accomplish with new technology, it's about creating successful outcomes. We know financial services is a highly competitive industry, and really what you're looking to do is not only create that personalized, trusting relationship with your clients and customers, but also maybe differentiate yourselves and keep ahead of that competition. And there's a lot of things that come with doing that, right? It's not easy. There's a lot of market challenges that can kind of create roadblocks or just, new challenges internally that you have to overcome to be able to do that. And some of those challenges that we're seeing really come and boil down to three areas. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about just the market forces that we're seeing, and then dive into how Zoom can help you face those market forces. And the first one is really the key area we see is customers, right? The largest one we're seeing right now is that generational wealth transfer. Those boomers are transferring their wealth over to their kids, and those kids, or I shouldn't call them kids because they're probably fall into that category, but those adults have different expectations around the personalization and service that their financial advisors or just even their bank offers them. There's a lot more focus on an omni-channel experience. There's a bigger focus also on a digital experience. You think about the services they receive through like Netflix or Amazon. It's very quick, easy, seamless, digital. They're not having to walk into place. They're not having to schedule a sit-down dinner. They just are very comfortable with having those digital experiences. So how are you as an institution supporting that new generation with their expectations for that personalized service, but through different channels? So creating new exciting experiences and being able to differentiate yourself. That's the biggest market force we're seeing for customers right now. If you jump into employees, that's a whole nother set of challenges. I think, 2 years ago, if you would have told me that financial services was going to go to fully remote or hybrid work, I would say you're crazy. Like, we've always been on site. You're at the headquarters, you're working there. Everybody's collaborating in person, but really that got spun and put on its head, and the progress and even just the speed of digital transformation that we've seen happen in financial services over the last 2 years is astronomical, and not something I think anyone expected to happen within this industry. So there's a lot of challenges and pressures for you as an institution to be able to support your hybrid workers, to be able to make your workers feel safe and feel like they're being supported. But at the same time, how do you still have that work-life balance? Are you making sure that they're not getting burned out? Are you making sure that they're feeling connected to everyone, even though they might not be in person with everyone? And also a large focus on DEI initiatives and making everyone feel included, making sure there's diversity within the workforce, making sure, again, that you're creating a culture of productivity. So those are what we're seeing in the market forces for employees. And then to top it all off, there's a lot of market forces going on within the industry itself. Consolidation, if you think about industry mergers and acquisitions, especially within like the fintech industry, a lot of the big guys are eating up the smaller guys to ensure that they have the latest technology to offer those digitalized, personalized services. And it's a very competitive landscape. Again, kind of piggybacking back to customers, but also employees. If you have the latest technology, retaining customers, attracting new talent with employees. making sure you're offering those digital experiences, it all has a competitive landscape to it. And not to add on top of that, but to add regulatory and compliance burdens. You don't want to not have the latest technology, but same, if you're going to implement something new, are you ensuring that it meets all the standards that need to be in place? So really, when you talk about all those market forces, how are you turning those headwinds into tailwinds? Well, we like to think here at Zoom that we're able to assist you in being able to do that. Just as kind of a proof point to make sure that I'm not just a talking head and I don't have any actual, meat behind the stick here. 8 out of 10 of the largest US banks have trusted Zoom, and also 50% of the world's largest banks have chosen Zoom to support them in some of these initiatives. And just to kind of show some of the leading logos and customers that we have today that work with us. And again, it's definitely a relationship where they're helping us see new ways to work, and we're hopefully enabling them to do that as well. So when we talk about, your environment and how we kind of fit into that, we want to look at who you're trying to serve. Who are your customers? Not only just the clients and customers you serve, but also you have employees as a piece of that, your customers as a piece of that, and also your shareholders. So we look at it in 3 areas. And what are you trying to achieve with those people that you're serving? Well, there's innovative, right? You have to stay competitive. You got to make sure you're always thinking 2 steps ahead, making sure you have the latest offering, make sure you've got the technology in place. But that technology and that innovation also needs to be scalable, right? How are you future-proofing your decisions? You don't want to go with something that's a siloed technology solution that also won't expand and beyond, 5 years from now. It's got to be hybrid too, right? I mean, gone are the days of solely putting something on premise in a headquarters solution and making sure your employees are there. They've got to be able to work from anywhere, anytime. It's got to be diverse, and it also has to be extendable. There's a lot more that has to go into a solution these days than the technology itself. There's APIs, there's SDKs, it's working together, and it's creating really an ecosystem with the rest of your technology. Zoom here helps to support you with our whole Zoom portfolio or platform. It's more than just meetings. It's not webinars that we're doing right now. It's not the one-on-one meetings that you guys have been using. There's so much more to the platform itself. There's chat. There's the ability to collaborate internally. There's events, there's phone, there's those APIs and SDKs, there's Zoom Rooms, there's Zoom for Home. And I'm going to detail and dive into some of these a little bit further, but really it's a full portfolio. It's the UC stack that we want to support you with. And underneath that whole stack is the most important part, I think, for financial services. It's the ability to have the encryption, the archiving, the certifications, the compliance. So we want to make sure that every aspect of the Zoom portfolio enables you to have collaboration internally. So I'm going to touch on some of those industry specific solutions because I think that's always a little bit top of mind for financial services organizations when we speak to them. Again, we don't want to be a roadblock. We want to help you enable collaboration within your institution to promote effectiveness and productivity and create and delight your customers. So we deliver required compliance guardrails to manage risks so you can enable collaboration within your institution. We do that in several areas. I think a big one is encryption, right? You think of end-to-end encryption, think of bringing your own keys, making sure that data is protected. With archiving and integrations, we partner with some of the leading archiving vendors to ensure that once you've captured that data, what are you doing with it? Can you do e-discovery on it? Are you retaining it for the length of period that you're required to? Do you have certain users that have regulatory needs over others? Are you tracking them whether they're in meeting or an internal meeting or external meeting? Communication policies. This is a big one, making sure that certain departments within your organization can't see each other, can't collaborate, can't work together. They have to be in their own silos. Chat etiquette. If you think about meetings today, do you enable chat? Do you not enable chat? Do you enable reactions? Are you recording the call? So what type of chat and etiquette tools do you have within your meetings? And device management rules as well. For regional regulatory, it's about data retention, data privacy. What are your privacy policies? Who are you sharing that data with, and how can we protect that data? And a lot of that comes with the certifications you wrap it in. Zoom holds certifications for SOC 2, Type 2, GDPR, NCSC, a lot of the Japan financial institutions, and also cybersecurity essentials. And just to touch a little bit further on the archiving piece, because we know that's such a big piece of financial services, we really are platform agnostic when it comes to who you want to archive your data with. And we do that by allowing you to have the APIs to capture any of the data. And our APIs can collect in multiple areas and pieces of the platform and portfolio that we offer. For meetings, for example, you can just capture the voice piece of it, or you can capture the video piece of it, capture the chat piece of it. For phone, you can do SMS. Who are your customers texting, or I'm sorry, who are your employees texting with your customers? Are you retaining that data? Is it a voicemail that someone left you? Is it just the call itself? And then also for chat, are we sharing files when we're collaborating? Are you capturing the whole message, reactions to it? So really, there's a lot of breadth and depth to the APIs that we've offered and what you're able to do with your data. And these are just some of the key partners, leading partners that we work with for you to be able to do that with, that you probably are working with today. So easy just to roll over your Zoom communication data as well. So this is just to highlight, again, something we've done with NASDAQ. They said the expectations for NASDAQ is that we perform better than any other exchange. In order to provide that, we need to be able to collaborate effectively with our customers and our internal folks to maintain that. And Zoom fits right into that mold. Again, we don't want to be a siloed solution that you're only using externally or internally. We want to be able to support your organization across the whole. And that means customers, that means employees, and that means shareholders. So I wanted to touch on some of the areas. When we think about financial services, you have to be thinking about what are you able to do today? And then again, with future proofing, what could you do tomorrow? When you think about Zoom, it's quite the platform and quite the portfolio. And so there's so many areas that we can support you. So again, I broke this down into who are you serving. So this first area is your employees, right? You want to empower your employees to do their best work. So you need to give them the tools. It not only helps you attain and also attract new talent, but it makes your employees easier to collaborate, have ideation and equity internally. I think that's really important too when you start to have a hybrid workforce. So 4 key areas, and again, these aren't the only areas, but 4 key areas that I wanted to highlight that we see our financial services customers using Zoom internally with their employees is first, the safe and welcoming experiences at offices and retail locations. I think a lot of folks don't work every day in the office. So coming back into the office for the first time in a while, or coming to a different location, you want to make sure that they still have that welcoming experience when they walk in. We can do that with our kiosk solutions, having a receptionist not have to be present in every location, but be on video and welcome someone when they come in, be able to direct them to where they need to go, be able to answer any questions that they might have when they're walking into that location for the first time, or if it's been a while. Another one is identifying a reserved flexible workspace. So again, if I haven't been to the headquarter location in a while, I just want to pop in for a day, I've got a meeting I want to participate in. From the comfort of my home, I can identify what workstation I can go to that day, what's available. Maybe I contact one of my coworkers to ensure that we pick spaces close to each other because we're going to be collaborating with each other that day. But being able to know when I walk into this building, I'm going to my desk right here, and I'll have a workstation set up for me ready to go. Another great one we see some of our large institutions doing is support with on-demand IT. So again, thinking I haven't been in my headquarters for a while, I walk in and of course I need to print something or I need to connect to the VPN. And I'm having trouble doing that because I haven't been connected to that headquarter location in a while. Well, rather than opening a support ticket and hoping that someone gets back to me, or being on hold with IT waiting for someone to answer my question, we have kind of a genius bar set up. So someone walks over to their a monitor that's the on-demand IT help. They can have their laptop sitting right there. And you also have the IT staff on the back end, not sitting on every floor, not sitting in every location, but on demand. So I can speak to someone live right there, have them answer my questions for me, have them get me hooked up to that printer, or have me connected to the VPN, and then I'm on my way. So again, think about the efficiency and the productivity level that that brings by not having to wait for someone to check my email for a support ticket or wait on hold for someone. I'm talking to someone live within my organization on IT, on video right there, and getting my questions and moving on. And then also fully inclusive meeting experiences. This is a big one, especially with the hybrid workforce. Now, when I'm working from home, and maybe my other teammates might be in the office that day, but we have a meeting, I don't want to look on my video screen and be the big head and then just see a small conference room with 5 people sitting in it. I can't tell who's talking. I'm seeing backs of heads. I don't feel like I can hear them very well, and I don't feel like I'm a part of that meeting. Well, with our smart gallery option with conference rooms and meetings and the Zoom room option, you're able to spotlight each person within that conference room. So we're also all shown on the screen as the same size. I can see who's talking, I can hear them, I feel included in the meeting and don't feel like I'm the odd man out sitting at home. I feel like I'm sitting in that conference room with everyone right there. So those are some of the use cases we see with employees. And if we dive into customers, again, this is a big one, right? This is your differentiator. This is offering that personalized and relationship building experience. The first one we see is managing customer outreach via distributed teams. We have a large bank customer that every Monday their branch manager signs a quota of number of outbound calls those personal bankers need to make to current customers to upsell and outreach. The difficulty the customer was having is, how do we ensure that those personal bankers are keeping the corporate identity if they're maybe working from home 2 days a week? So what they've implemented with Zoom Phone, those bankers can make those calls from the comfort of their home if they're working from home that day, from the headquarter office, from a branch location. They're always using their Zoom Phone, so they keep their corporate identity with the same phone number. They also are recording that call for security purposes and also for training purposes. And also because they're using their Zoom Phone, the branch manager can check daily reports, weekly reports to ensure that those personal bankers are making their number of calls that they need to do. And also they're able to listen to those calls for training purposes, recommendations, any problems that might arise. So being able to keep that corporate identity and be in any location is a key thing for productivity, but also for compliance. We have inbound customer consultation services. This is a really cool one where, say I'm on your company's website and I'm filling out a mortgage application. I get to a section in the application where I have a question. Well, because I'm on your website right there, I can connect with a live agent rather than trying to do a chat and having an AI bot understand what I'm trying to ask. I can connect with a live representative, hold a video chat session, all while on your institution's website, get my questions answered, have that personalized experience, get my application filled out and move on my way, rather than either trying to have an AI chatbot answer my questions or maybe sitting on hold and then that person not being able to see what I'm seeing on my screen or answer my questions. I'm doing a video session right there. And also claim insurance handling. If you think about it, I might have someone who has had damage on their home and they need to file a claim. So the adjuster comes out and is able to take video and pictures of the damage that's done. I'm able to hold a meeting with my agent on the screen. They can show me the video, show me the photos, walk me through the process. I can even execute the claim with DocuSign integration on my meetings and finish the whole process with my agent. We didn't have to set up a different time. They didn't have to send me any paperwork. We all did it on our video meeting together. And then lastly, that third section of, who are you trying to serve is the shareholders. A great new offering is our Zoom events, where you can offer customized investor and employee events. You can tailor them, you can ticket them, you can record them, you can build and foster relationships and connections within these event portals. You can have sponsorships. So really a great way to add an additional touch point with your shareholders and be able to host with Zoom, again, keeping it within the Zoom portfolio. And I think it all looks into designing the retail bank or the institution of the future. So if you think about all the touch points I talked prior to in these few areas, you can implement them in areas outside of that as well. So we have some folks that have the big monitors. And so when I walk into my branch, my bank branch, I can have someone greet me. Maybe I need to speak with a specialist. They can direct me towards a desk that maybe has a video monitor, and I can speak with a mortgage specialist, or I can speak with a private banker that maybe specializes in the kind of asset management that I need that might not be in that location today. So it really helps with staffing, but also making sure that you're welcoming folks when they walk in. So those are just some of the few shots that I wanted to capture in use cases. I mean, we could go all day, but I know that I'm limited to 25 minutes or 30 minutes with you all. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of a taste of what Zoom has to offer for you all. But Ryan, I'm happy to answer any questions if they came up, or if there's anything else that you'd like to cover off on.
We don't have any questions from the audience, but I know that a valuable thought process that I want to understand more and to hear from you specifically, since you're so entrenched in this, and I've known you for a long time. You've been in financial services since I met you, I don't know, like almost 6 years ago, right? So you've probably seen a lot of changes in the industry. So with Zoom in particular, where do you see the market going? Where do you see financial services going in the future that incorporates different means of communication, or how this is going to continue to evolve, just given your breadth of knowledge?
Yeah, I feel like that's a trick question these days, because if you would have asked me this 2 years ago with COVID, I would say, we're on a digital transformation path, and someday we're going to get more towards video and people are going to feel more comfortable with digital interactions. And I feel like that got flipped on its head and spun overnight. We really have progressed at a rapid pace. I think in the future, again, I think we're going to see a reduction in real estate owned by a lot of institutions. I think people are going to realize that they can be productive and have that hybrid workforce. I also see the younger generations coming up and not requiring as much in-person interaction. So I think video is going to be a huge piece of it, because I think you still need, I still want to see your face, Ryan. I think financial services is always, a touchy subject, a personal subject. You want to feel reassured in your decisions that you're making. I don't necessarily want to do dinner with you. I don't necessarily want you to come over to my house and hear my kids screaming, but I want to make sure that I can trust you with, the advice that you're giving me. So I think we're only going to see further expansion into video and digital experiences across the board.
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I know that we have had dinner together though, so I mean, that's something that, kind of on the same vein though, on the other side is, what do you think is the biggest risk, for financial service companies, down the line, related to technology, communications in general? What are the risks that you're seeing, or what do you see in the future?
I think the biggest risk for institutions is inaction. We see a lot of customers come and have questions and get excited about it, but then maybe not feel that it's the right time. And I feel like, especially when financial services, when it's so competitive, that you've got to take a little bit of risk. Don't get me wrong. I know there's regulations and compliance in place and you have to factor those in, but just making sure that you're not future-proofing or thinking of it. I really want to make sure that financial institutions really ask us the hard questions, to really get involved in the conversations that we're having. Let's talk about the technology, and let's also expand on it. Some of the best things that we've done here at Zoom really have come from ideas and conversations that we've had with our customers is, oh, can we do this? We're quick to pivot, and we're not going to say we know the right way. So I think, having that conversation with us, picking our brains, we'll pick yours. It's a two-way street. So I really want to make sure that don't act upon it because you feel like the risk is too big. Let's have that conversation and work through it together.
Sure. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining the Matrix Network's New Zoom event.